Jai Mahamaya ki jai, Vishveshvari Mata ki jai. Yesterday we read about the Shakti of the earth. Tomorrow, now we'll read about chapter 10. Narada said, I'm now desirous to hear about the merits acquired by making gifts of land, the demerits by stealing away lands, digging wells and other people's wells. In digging earth on the day of Ambubachi, and in placing lamps and lights on the surface of the earth, as well as the sins when one acts wrongly in various other ways on the surface of this earth, and the remedies thereof. Sri Narayana said, if one makes a gift of land in this Bharata of the measure of a vitasti to a Brahmana, who performs sadhya 3 times a day and is thus purified, one goes and remains in Shiva Loka, the abode of Lord Shiva. If one gives away in charity a land full of corn to a Brahmin, the giver goes and lives in Vishnu Loka in the end for a period measured by the number of dust particles on the land. If one presents a village, a plot of land, or grains to a Brahmin, both the giver and the receiver become freed of their sins and go to the Devi Loka. Even if one be present when a proposal for a gift of land is being made and says, this act is good, one goes to Vaikuntha with one's friends and relatives. He remains in the Kala Sutra hell as long as the sun and moon exist, who takes back or steals away the gifts to a Brahmin offered by himself or by any other body. Even his sons, grandsons, etc., become destitute of lands, prosperity, sons, and wealth, and remain in a dreadful hell. If one cultivates the grazing land for the cows and reaps therefore a harvest of grain, one remains for 100 divine years in the Kumbha Pakal hell. If one cultivates any enclosure for cows or tanks and grows grains on them, one remains in the Asapatra hell for a period equivalent to 14 Indra's lives. One who bathes in another's tank without taking 5 handfuls of earth from it goes to hell, and one's bath is quite ineffective. If one digs around on the day of Ambubachi, one remains in hell for 4 yugas. If without the permission of the owner of a well or tank, a stupid man clears the old well or tank and digs the slushy earth from the bottom, his labor goes in vain. The merit goes to the real owner, and the man who labored so much goes to Tapta Kunda Naraka for 14 Indra's life's period. If anyone takes out 5 handfuls of earth from another's tank when he goes to bathe in it, he dwells in the Brahmaloka for periods of years, amounting to the number of particles in those handfuls of earth. During one's father's or grandfather's Shraddha ceremony, if one offers pinda without offering any food to the owner of the soil, the Shraddha performance goes certainly to hell. If one places a light, a deep, an arti lamp, directly on the earth without any holding piece at the bottom, one becomes blind for 7 births. And so if one places a conch shell on the ground, one becomes attacked with leprosy in one's next birth. If anybody places pearls, gems, diamonds, golds, and jewels, the 5 precious things on the ground, he becomes blind. If one places the phallic emblem of Shiva, the image of Shivani, the salagrama stone on the ground, he remains for 100 manvantaras to be eaten by worms. Conch shells, yantras, the water after washing and doing puja, flowers, tulsi leaves, if placed on the ground, lead him who places them there verily to hells. The beads, garlands of flowers, and camphor, when placed on the ground, lead him who places it to suffer the torments of hell. The sandalwood paste, the rudrakshamala, and the roots of the kusi grass also, if placed on the ground, lead the doer to stay for 1 manvantara in hell. Books, the sacred sacred threads, when placed on the ground, make the doer unfit for Brahmin birth. Rather, he is involved in a sin equivalent to the murder of a Brahmin. The sacred thread, when knotted and rendered fit for holding, is worth being worshipped by all castes. One ought to sprinkle the earth with curd, milk, etc., after one has completed one's sacrifices. If one fails to do this, one will have to remain for 7 births in the hot ground with great torment. If one digs the earth when there is earthquake or when there is an eclipse, that sinner becomes also devoid of some of his limbs in the next birth. O Muni, this earth is named Buni, since she is the abode of all. She is named Kasapi because she is the daughter of Kasapa. Her name is also Vishvabhara, since she supports the universe. She is named Ananta, since she is endlessly wide, and she is named Prithvi, since she is the daughter of the king Prithu, she is extensively wide. Here ends the 10th chapter of the 9th book on the offenses caused toward the Mother Earth and the punishment there in hells. In the Mahapuran Srimad Devi Bhagavatam of 18,000 verses by Maharishi Veda Vyasa. Jai Mahamaya ki, Jai Bole Baba ki, Jai.